Hi, everybody. So, this week we are talking about how to write a literary analysis. That is a type of essay that you're going to have to write soon for this course. So, I'm just going to take you a little bit through an introduction of kind of what a literary analysis is and what you'll be doing with this type of essay. But it's going to require a little bit of review. So we're going to go back to something that you have probably already covered at this point. But here's the thing you've got to remember about a literary analysis, which is a literary analysis is simply an argument that you're making about a piece of literature, a poem or a short story, usually. But it still involves some of the basic principles of rhetoric and argumentation in general. So the most important thing that you have to do with a literary analysis is that you are going to have to come up with a claim to support your position on this particular piece of work. So just to review, this slide right here shows you, what are some typical examples of claims. Now, the claim is simply your position. Okay, so this is the thing that you are, the thing that you're arguing about. This is your take. This is your stand on it, if you will. So if we look at some of these claim statements, for example, all animal shelters in the United States should be no-kill shelters. College textbooks should be included in the price of tuition. People should not have to pay to park downtown. HBO should include disclaimers on their content. And I'm skipping around here a little bit, but tanning beds are not as bad for you as people think. Don't know that I would agree with that, but again, that's a position. All right, so your job, once you've staked your claim, is that your essay is going to work to defend that position. All right, so having reviewed that, let's go back to looking at a piece of literature. So for this assignment, you're going to be asked to, again, to take a poem or story. I don't know at this point if that particular work will be assigned to you or if you'll have your choice of what you want to write on. But I'm just going to take you through an example here. So this is a poem by Gwendolyn Brooks called The Bean Eaters. And the story in this poem is, it's really quite simple on the surface. All right, so let's just read through it. They eat beans mostly, this old yellow pair. Dinner is a casual affair, plain chipware on a plain and creaking wood, tin flatware. Two who are mostly good, two who have lived their day, but keep on putting on their clothes and putting things away. And remembering with twinklings and twinges as they lean over the beans in their rented back room that is full of beads and receipts and dolls and cloths, tobacco crumbs, vases, and fringes. So what you would want to do is look for something within this poem, perhaps that raises a question. It could be a question that you might pose to the reader, and then think, first of all, how you would answer that question, and then what evidence from the poem would actually support that position. So again, looking at this poem in particular, we might raise some questions about the age of this couple. They're referred to as old more than a couple of times. What are their circumstances? Well, if we look at this first line, And I'll just highlight some things here. They eat beans mostly. I mean, the title of the poem is The Bean Eaters, right? So when people mostly eat beans, what does that tell you about their circumstances? Maybe they're not very well off. Maybe they're having to scrimp and save. They don't have enough of a budget for fancy groceries. They have to eat very simply and they live very simply. That's what this poem tells us. What does she mean by this old yellow pear? That's an interesting description for them. This poem is several decades old. I think it goes back to the 1930s, I want to say. But, you know, this was not a very politically correct time. And this was a time when people who were biracial oftentimes were referred to as yellow bones, red bones. Um, so these were sometimes derogatory terms, although I don't think she means it here in a derogatory way. It's just a descriptor, right? But it tells you that not only is this couple elderly, not only is the couple poor, they're biracial. Now, is that important or relevant overall for the poem? That would be for the reader to decide. What can we glean about the way this couple lives or the way that they have lived their life? Again, the details support the idea that they live quite simply. They don't question their circumstances too much. They've lived a pretty exemplary life. They're thrifty in their way, but keep on putting on their clothes and putting things away. The elderly, oftentimes this is what their life is kind of reduced to. They're surrounded by their things, their memories, all their things that they've packed away. What are these things that they're remembering? This could be a potential claim for the poem. What is it that they remember with twinklings and twinges? What do some of these items mean for them? Their beads, their receipts, their dolls and clothes, for example. So again, what you want to do is, look at the work, obviously, read it, think about it, go back, read it again. Think about a question you can raise that you can then satisfactorily answer in your essay by using the details that the poem gives you to support that claim. All right, so now your claim should be fairly assertive. Don't be afraid to be assertive with your claim, okay? So let's say here, if we look at this poem and say, the couple in Gwendolyn Brooks's The Bean Eaters are obviously elderly. Okay, or you might say they are obviously elderly and living in poverty, but they are okay with that. That would be a good solid claim. And then all you have to do with the rest of the essay is work to support that. All right, so I hope that this little introduction to literary analysis has been helpful for you. You will get an assignment on creating a literary analysis claim, how to raise those questions. And I hope that this will be some good practice for you as you get ready for your essay. Bye-bye.